What's going on, you guys? Bushido Monologue, episode 12. It may not be that long this week, but I'm going to give you something. Of course, this Saturday, we got Terrence Crawford versus Shawn Porter. They had their press conference yesterday. Terrence Crawford is as stoic as ever, just laser focused, locked in, didn't really give us too much. Didn't give us too much of anything. Shawn Porter, as relaxed as ever, just like another day in the office. That's that experience that he has. Just another day in the office. Should be a really good fight. Should be an action-packed fight. Might be even fight of the year. But then again, who knows? A lot of people expect Terrence Crawford to go out there and do what he does best. Bo Mack came and said this is the best camp that they had. They took everything to another level. I expect something great this weekend. We'll see. You know, Kenny Porter didn't seem too confident. He didn't seem too confident as he has in the past going into these fights. He didn't get the sparring that he wanted. Deep down, he probably felt that, damn, man, my son, he didn't get the work that I feel that we needed, but we're going to have to make the best of what we got. That's the vibe I got from Kenny Porter. They didn't get the work that they needed to prepare for a guy like Terrence Crawford. Tank Davis, Dennis Doolin, Andre Durrell, and Caleb Plant, that's not going to prepare you for Terrence Crawford, bro. That's not going to prepare you for Bud. So it seemed like they were scrambling to get good work to prepare for this guy. And we go see what Shawn does this weekend. We go see if Terrence Crawford can get the job done. We go see if Errol Spence Jr. will be in the building. As you know, Terrence Crawford made a request to the WBC to become Errol Spence mandatory. So that shows us that he really wants that fight. Despite what he's saying in the public, talking about it's behind him, I think those are somewhat of mind games. He needs that fight. He knows it. Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence need each other. Point blank, period. End of story. We go see what happens. Of course, Terrence Crawford has to get past Shawn Porter before we can continue that story. Yeah, interesting. Really, really interesting to see how this thing plays out. Big fight for boxing. How the pay-per-view going to do, I don't know. I expect at least 300 minimum. It's not that really good today, but I think it'll be good for those guys. You know what I'm saying? I think it'll be good for them. But moving forward, because like I said, I'm not going to be on today. There's been a lot of talk about Canelo Alvarez's opponent. This has been the most exposure this guy ever got. Nobody in the world heard of this guy. Canelo Alvarez probably can't even pronounce this dude's name. But he's fighting him, moving up to cruiserweight for clout, you know, fighting the weakest link at the weight. No disrespect to him either, but this is a fight that nobody really wanted to see. Nobody never heard of this guy literally until they announced this, him being a potential opponent. Nobody wants to see this guy. I mean, boxing fans, of course, I guess it's somewhat split down the middle. A lot of fans are okay with it. Other fans is really criticizing it. A lot of fans are just tired of Canelo's shit. And you got a lot of people that's actually fans of Canelo, like your boy Bushido, that's really tired of his shit. Like, what are you doing? The politics of boxing has never been a factor for you. The politics of boxing has never slowed Canelo Alvarez down in any kind of way. He can fight whoever, whenever, wherever. And it's never going to be a thing, right? He can fight anybody in the world. And yet he chooses to fight a guy named Alunga Makubu. And who cares? You know, you got guys like Dan Rayfield trying to come up here and co-sign it, and, you know, fans are crying and all this stuff, but fans are tired of Canelo bamboozling boxing. This is a 31-year-old man in his prime, cherry picking, advanced elite cherry picking, fighting guys coming off losses, fighting guys that the world never heard of, fighting guys that people just don't really care about, but guess what? His fans do. And it don't matter what hardcore fans like your boy Bushido or Timothy Bradley or whoever else feels that Canelo Alvarez is bamboozling boxing. Because that's exactly what he's doing. He's bamboozling boxing. One of my subs yesterday on the live, brought up something funny. If he's listening, he know he's talking about, you know who I'm talking about, and shout out to him. He said that Canelo is a Houdini of boxing. And initially, I didn't get it. It went over my head, but real quick, I got it. And basically, Canelo Alvarez is boxed in, right? 160, they coming. You know, right? Benavidez is coming at 168. Of course, we also have Dave Morrell at 168. You got the two European guys, the tough ones, the real fighters, Bivol and Beterbiev up there, right? The title holders, the champions. He had nowhere to run. He was boxed in. He was locked inside the box. But guess what? Him being a Houdini of boxing, he was able to get out by the way of a Makubu. He said the code word. It wasn't teddy bear like in Demolition Man. Nah, it was Makubu, and he got out of the fucking trap. He's gonna get a lot of clout. He's gonna go down as one of the greatest of all time. One thing I'm gonna be paying attention to is his physique. If Canelo Alvarez moves up to 190 pounds and he still has those rock solid abs and that physique that he has, I'm gonna be really, really questioning this dude. He's bouncing up and down in weight, you know. We seen what happened with Roy Jones when he tried to do that. Move up to heavyweight, they came back down. It just wasn't the same for him no more. So how is Canelo going to be able to do all this? Bouncing up and down in weight and keeping the same physique without losing anything. Without losing anything. So it raises question. They do a lot of things for these guys. Put franchise tags, increase thresholds of clenbuterol, all types of shit, man. You can't be okay with it being a real thorough boxing fan. You just can't be okay with it. Sometimes you gotta put your foot down and be like, hey man, this shit is some bullshit, bro. What's really good? You know what I'm saying? What's really good? Let me read something to you guys that I saw, and this is something that I've been saying for quite a while. I've been saying this shit for a while, but you go hear from somebody else. Now let me go ahead and read it to you. He says, has Canelo clearly separated himself from top competition he faced? No. Too many close calls and controversial fights. This is something I always say. Canelo hardly ever separates himself from the opposition. Whenever he gets in there with somebody that don't respect him, the fights look really, really interesting. Right? When he was up in there with somebody that could give him some go, it was controversy in that fight. These are facts, people. Next, he says, did he use catch weights, rehydration clauses, and other advantages before fights? Yes. The great ones don't depend on you being weak for them to be strong. Facts. And this is an article on, this is not no social media website. This is an actual article. Facts. He put rehydration stipulation clauses on fighters. I mean, bro, you're supposed to be the number one pound for pound fighter in the world. You're supposed to be one of the best boxers, if not the best boxer in the world. And yet you're draining fighters. That's a gimmick, bro. That's not what it's supposed to be. Did he benefit from favorable judging? Abso-fucking-lutely. Yes. He always get the long end of the stick on the judge's calls, no matter what. Floyd Mayweather washed him, dominated him, and still won only a majority decision. It's going to be really, really hard for anybody to beat Canelo because of this. Did he face the best fighters in each division he campaigned in? The answer, no. Now, this is this guy in this article asking these questions, right? He hasn't. The best guy he fought was Triple G at 160. That's the best guy he fought recently that actually came to fight and came to win. Did he introduce us to complete strangers? Yes. Thanks to him, I now know 3 more human beings in Rocky Fielding, Andrew Uterman, and Makubu. That's right. Now we know who Rocky Fielding is, Andrew Uterman. I mean, we say his name now more than ever. And Makubu, who we're going to be really saying his name to the point where we're going to be able to sound like we speaking African, speaking Congolese. We're going to be speaking the language soon because we're going to be saying his name so damn much. Canelo introduced us to 3 complete strangers in boxing that nobody never heard of. He got a lot of credit from beating these guys. One of them was coming off a loss. One of them already got beat up. This same guy that coming off a loss got beat up by Chris Eubanks Jr. Actually, that was supposed to be Chris Eubanks Jr. fighting Canelo Alvarez in a real perfect boxing world. But since Chris Eubanks Jr. is somewhat of a rebel, he said something that pissed the WBC off, and they took him out of the rankings. So boom, there go his opportunity because he opened his mouth. David Benavidez, well, he couldn't keep his shit together. He lost the belt. So these guys are fucking up. And it just was the perfect opportunity for Canelo to hop up to 168 and do what he's doing. I can't remember if that was for Chris Eubanks. I can't remember if that happened at 160 or 168. I know he was at 168 for a little bit. Yeah, it was at 168 because he knocked out Avery Uterman. And in his fight with Avery Uterman actually came out to win. He actually was fighting Chris Eubanks Jr. back. But when these guys get up in there with Canelo, man, it don't look the same. But this article also says, it seems that more and more analysts are taking the red pill. Teddy Atlas, Juan Manuel Marquez, and Mike Tyson, to name a few, share the same views. I commend them for the bravery because Lord knows it takes courage to speak the truth and the backlash that comes with it. Your boy Bushido always be speaking the truth. I'm not worried about no backlash. You go hear what I got to say. You hit that play button, you already know. It may not be what you want to hear, but it's going to be what you need to hear. Canelo Alvarez is bamboozling boxing. He's the Houdini of a boxing. This shit is looking like an illusion. But thank God for this weekend. We got Terrence Bud Crawford going up against Showtime Sean Porter. It spells fireworks on paper, okay? There's no way in the universe that fight should be a boring fight. It shouldn't look like a sparring match. It should look like a real fight with two guys that really want it. But yeah, other than that, you guys, not too much this week. I'm going to keep it short. I'm just expecting a good fight this weekend. I'm looking forward to this weekend. You know, we always know Bud Crawford always puts up a show. We're going to see what tricks Bud pull out against a tough guy like Sean Porter, who's been in there with some of the best fighters in the world, and gave every one of those guys a tough night out. They, you know, one may say he fucking beat some of these dudes. If you know, could have went his way. So we're going to see if Terrence Crawford could truly separate himself from Sean Porter. If he separates himself from Sean Porter, not even just the stoppage shit is just, you know, but if he separates himself from Sean Porter to where Sean Porter is getting dominated, to where Sean Porter just can't do nothing, I think that says a lot as well. Because nobody separates themselves from Sean Porter. But I think Terrence Crawford would be the first to do so. Like, subscribe, holla at your boy. Peace out.